Hi everyone, welcome to this presentation on audience theory. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to quickly go through four of the main audience theories that are common in media studies and how people use them to understand the world. One of the key ideas in media studies is that everybody understands media differently, but we receive information and we process it in some way. And so over the years, sociology and sociologists have tried very hard to understand how people interact with the media and how they make sense of information. So the four main models we're going to look at today, the first one is the hypodermic needle model. The hypodermic needle, just like a needle that the doctor would use, injects information straight into your brain. The next version is the two-step flow model. Two-step flow model, somebody interprets information, you trust them and you believe what they say. Then there's the uses and gratifications model, which says that you use information in a certain way and you look for things that gratify you and make sense to you, that make sense of the world in a way that you agree with. And then finally, we have the reception theory, and reception theory works on the idea that you understand the world in particular ways because of your background. And when you receive information, how you receive it and how somebody else receives it depends on that background. So those are the four main models we're going to be looking at today. I'm going to look at each of them in turn and give a quick bit of background and history on each one. So the first one's the hypodermic needle model. Now, please excuse me if I slip into hypothermic. I sometimes get this one mixed up with chemistry. The hypodermic needle model is based on the idea that you read something, you watch something, and the information and knowledge from that media goes straight into your brain and changes the way you think. Now, we hear this and we go, oh yeah, that makes some sense. I read a dictionary, I read a book, I read an encyclopedia, and I learnt about something. So this theory was really popular in the 1930s, the 1940s, beginning of the 1950s, and is very much the traditional way that people understand information to work and understand media to work. You don't know about something, you read about something, and then suddenly you understand it. So if you think about that, that definitely makes sense, and that definitely fits with our knowledge of how the world works. The catch is that we don't always get the information direct from the source. Often the information is interpreted for us in different ways. We don't go and interview the politician ourselves. The journalist does it for us. We don't listen to the whole interview. The journalist picks the bit of the interview that we're going to hear and reduces it down to sound bites of a few sentences in length. So the hypodermic needle model only works particularly well if you're getting all the information direct from the source yourself. By the two-step flow model. And in the 1950s and 1960s, as people looked back on World War II and they looked at what happened in World War II and the ideas of propaganda and persuasion and how did the Nazis convince people into doing stuff, we ended up with the two-step flow model. The two-step flow model is based on the idea that information and knowledge from the media is interpreted by somebody who influences you, an influential person who you trust, a friend, a parent, a teacher, a newsreader, a journalist, an editor, a politician, somebody you trust, somebody authoritative who tells you what to think. This has some appeal. This makes some sense. You don't have to go and read the information yourself. Somebody else reads it, understands it for you, and summarizes it to you or tells you the important bits. And so this is what we call mediation. It's one of the key ideas of media studies theory, in that you don't receive the information directly, somebody translates it for you. Whether they're doing that by paraphrasing it and changing the words or just picking out highlights, or whether they're doing it by editing a video and only choosing the bits that you absolutely need to see. The influencer is then packaging the information in a way that you understand it. Obviously, this again makes a lot of sense. Sometimes we read the information ourselves, but more often it's interpreted for us. We don't go and read the original scientific paper. We read a science textbook that summarizes it, or we listen to our science teacher summarize what's in the textbook so we don't have to read the textbook. So, this is a pretty crucial idea that somebody's mediating the information and influencing you with it. However, what it doesn't do is it doesn't take into account what you think. So in the 60s, 70s, 80s, we started getting the uses and gratifications model. And the clue is in the title. You get information that you choose to use, and you get information that gratifies you, that suits your interests and suits your desires. You select information and media based on your needs and wants, your social needs, your entertainment needs, your information needs, and your need to understand the world. Now, a crucial idea here is related to psychology, which is you want to seek things that reinforce what you already think, because that tells you that you're right and makes you feel good about the world. You go, oh yeah, that's what I think. Fantastic, I was right all along. It turns out vaccination's terrible for kids. Um, or whatever it is that your belief is that you're seeking to reaffirm. The phrase that I always think of when I think of this is if you talk to people with strong religious beliefs, they'll say miracles are where you look for them. If you don't look for them, you'll never see a miracle. And I think that's a terrific idea, that that you look for information that reinforces what you think about the world. You avoid or discount things that challenge your thoughts. If you believe that you are a good person, you're going to avoid information that tells you that you've been mean to somebody. If somebody's abusing you on Facebook, and even if they're right, you're never going to agree with them. You're going to avoid things that challenge your thoughts. So a way of thinking about this in terms of the general media, I've got a selection of general media here. Let's imagine some political news, some rugby news, some entertainment news, some radio station, let's say ZM, National Radio, TV1, TV3, and some genres of films, some arty-farty drama movies, and some comedy movies. And you, what do you want? Turns out you're going to ignore some things and you're going to seek out others. You might avoid political news because you don't care. You might avoid rugby news because you find rugby boring. But you're going to seek out the information about Rihanna because you think Rihanna's awesome. So you're going to seek out the entertainment news. It might be that you're a pop listener and you prefer ZM or The Edge to national radio. So you're going to choose particular radio stations that reinforce your social needs and your entertainment needs, rather than things that challenge your entertainment needs and force information on you when you don't want it. TV1 versus TV3, you might go, oh, TV1, that's what my parents watch, that's for old people, I'm going to watch TV3. You might look at arty drama movies and go, oh, no, I'm not really interested in the arty drama movies, I'm really into comedy. And you're going to seek out comedy films and avoid the arty drama films. So you seek things that reinforce your social needs, your entertainment needs, your information needs, and you avoid things that challenge you. You avoid things that make you uncomfortable, challenge you, or threaten to change what you think. The problem with the uses and gratifications model is it says, yes, while you have some agency, so this is a good thing, it's saying, yes, you do interact with the media, you do have some interaction. What it does overlook is it assumes that everybody has more or less the same uses and gratifications for stuff. They're going to seek out various stuff to suit themselves, but it's all receiving. It's all a very passive, they're dumping information on you, they're dumping stuff on you, and you're just like, yes, give me all the stuff. When in reality, you're interacting with the media. So while this gives you some agency and choice, you're not really interacting with the information. You're still receiving it exactly as if it was a hypodermic needle. You're just choosing which hypodermic needle you're getting hit with. Leads us to the reception model. The reception model says that you interact with the media. You construct the meaning. You and somebody else can watch the same piece of media and understand it in totally different ways, depending on who you are, based on your upbringing, your experiences, your education, your religion, your politics, your sexuality, your gender, your ethnicity. You and somebody else, no two people are going to see the same piece of media and see it in the same way. In the same way that when two people look at a color, if you look at orange and your friend looks at orange, you don't know that you're seeing the same color orange. You can never guarantee you're seeing the same thing as somebody else. Instead, you take all your information, all your background, all your experiences, and you combine it with what you see and go, yes, I remember that. That looks like orange. I therefore construct that meaning to be orange. What does this look like in reality? Well, let's look at this letter A. It's a plain font, nice and straightforward, three straight lines. subjective reality. But if you have an arty background, you might look at the letter A and go, oh, it could be really arty. Whereas if you're, much more utilitarian, you might go, oh, no, A, it's a stamp that goes on a crate. You look at the letter A and you see a different form of the letter A to somebody else. So this theory has been really popular from about the 1970s. This is the theory that was coming in when I was at university. Not that I was at uni in the 70s, but you get the idea. It allows you not just some agency, but it actually says you construct the meaning based on your experiences. And the classic movie example for this is the movie Life of Pi, which you probably heard me talk about in the past. If you're a person with no religious background and you watch Life of Pi, you see a lovely film about a guy and a tiger in a boat trying to survive. If you have a Hindu background, you see all the symbols of Hinduism that are hidden in the movie. And the film suddenly has a different meaning for you. It has a religious meaning. It's a series of symbols about religious belief. If you have a Christian background and you watch that film, you'll see some of the Christian symbolism. And the Hindu person may miss that, and the atheist person may miss that. But you'll see them because that's your experience, and you will understand a different film to the people sitting next to you. Same thing for a Muslim. The Life of Pi is directly constructed, is deliberately constructed, so it has different meanings based on your different religious backgrounds. And so based on who you are, you will see different things in the film and understand a different meaning to it. This relates directly to how we understand film. So what I'd like you to do now is have a think about the 4 different models we've looked at. If you haven't already, write a definition. If you have a neighbor handy, a friend handy who's also listening to this video, write a definition for the models and get them down. But before you do that, before you do anything else, have a think about each one, give it a score out of 5 for how well you think it reflects reality. Does it reflect all reality? Does it reflect things some of the time? Does it reflect things part of the time? Which ones do you think are most true? From that, you're going to then use this information later to interpret media your own way based on which one of these theories you think works best.